I literally just got done with my last video about Hassan. If you haven't seen it, seriously, what are you doing? You should check it out and leave a like and subscribe, and hopefully I, a devout socialist, can upgrade out the mud into a brand new multi-million-dollar mansion just like my idol Hassan. But yeah, anyway, jokes aside, I logged into Twitter to see that there's new developments involving the current situation about Hassan. I know, huge news for the terminally unemployed, right? But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm sure it'll be oh so educational as always. So in my last video, I talked about how Hassan had been stopped at the border for questioning, and now there's new developments surrounding the situation. So Hassan has actually come out and given us a little bit more detail surrounding what it was that happened. And boy, it's pretty crazy. Let's go ahead and roll the footage.
He must not have been a Houthi. And the very fact that that was like a point of contention that could have fucking gotten me arrested is insane. And I genuinely, in that moment, was thinking like, these fucking dumbass sloptubers are actually playing with fucking fire. And I even thought about not even mentioning this because I was like, I don't want to give them any sort of like power over the situation. But like, the reality of the matter is 100% the Trump administration is inadvertently working with a lot of these fucking dipshits. These dipshits are playing a formative role in getting people in trouble with the law. Okay? That is literally the case. It was shocking that that was the case, but it is the case. And it's actually very frustrating that it is the case, that this administration doesn't care. That's why they work with Beitar. That's why they work with all these other fucking insane groups.
All right, man, you already know what time it is. It's time to break this down. So this dumbass comes out here and says it's all the sloptubers' fault, right? That he's potentially getting interviewed by these people and potentially getting arrested. Like, bro, the Trump administration isn't corroborating with faceless sloptubers, as you call it, like myself. You know, all they have to do is a little bit of research into your own content to see and hear firsthand what you're all about. I seriously don't understand what this guy's talking about. You know, that's like me dying of thirst, right? Like, I'm just fucking in the desert, right? I'm fucking parched, you feel me? I'm about to pass away. I'm about to go the way of all of the earth, as they say. And I just go trekking in a random direction out into, you know, bumfuck Egypt to maybe find water when I could just go directly to the well that's in the other direction, right? Like, obviously, you go to the known source of said water. You know, the same thing can be applied here. Crazy thought, but stay with me. Is it possible? Is it possible that maybe, just maybe, with so many eyeballs on you and, you know, the fact that you're at the forefront of the largest live streaming service in the world, that it could be your own content?
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
What rapes did Hamas do? What are you talking about? Like, there is one instance in captivity that we have actually gotten verifiable evidence on. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him a prominent part of the Republican Party.
Holy shit. Nah, that's just too crazy, right? Like obviously, they're not going through these sloptubers, bro. They can find it at the forefront of your channel. You know, someone who's much bigger than all of us sloptubers. Like, dude, can you take accountability for once in your goddamn life?
I talked to a teenager from Yemen, okay, who everyone called, myself included, called Tim Houthi Charlemagne, or Chalamet.
Is that the One Piece one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now this kid is like, I think he was like 19 at the time when I talked to him, which means that for most of his life he has withstood genocide, right? Like he is a person whose only experience is like, it's literally like talking to fucking Anne Frank, basically. Okay, being able to talk to Anne Frank in real time. That's all he's known. Is death and destruction.
First of all, before we even get into this clip, how dare he try and tarnish the reputation of One Piece and Luffy, the future king of the pirates? You will refer to him as such, bitch. But but nah, that's crazy, dog. He's really out here trying to draw parallels with a goddamn anime, bro. Like, these are real live events that are taking place. This isn't a fucking cartoon. Like, what the fuck am I hearing, man? Is this dude serious? I'm genuinely concerned. I don't think he's being ironic anymore. We are officially in the worst possible timeline. But you know what? Fuck it. Here's a little anime parallel for you, Hassan. Luffy is actually the good guy, retard. He's the one that stands up to evil. He's the one who never gives up on his friends. He's the one that's freeing enslaved people. You know, he's the one that never backs down in the face of evil. He's not the one perpetrating such evil. See, Luffy encapsulates the good qualities you'd like to see in people, not the bad ones. These Houthi heroes, as you call them, they're not victims. When you do a little research and begin to understand what it is they've actually perpetrated, it's actually some of the most disgusting, most vilest shit anyone can perpetrate on this earth. Like, it's really that disgusting.
This is what resistance looks like, Hassan. Yemeni, Houthis and STC accused of forcing Ethiopian women into sexual slavery. Wow, who would have guessed that the terrorist organization takes women and forces them into sex slavery? I would have never guessed this could have happened. That's crazy. Wow. Who would have known? Just like Luffy, did they do that in One Piece?
And it just begs the question, man, like, when did this dude decide to start interviewing monsters? You know, literal pieces of shit, and try to give them, like, I don't know, a voice, or try to humanize them and justify their actions, and while in the process also condoning everything they've done. You know, these Houthis are not worthy to hold the title of King of the Pirates. The Going Merry most certainly did not fucking burn for this. And honestly, on a much more serious note, what a piece of shit Hassan is for totally missing the plot. You know, then again, as you also heard in that clip, he also views these pirates who have killed people, they've assaulted women and forced them to be their slaves, destroyed the people of Yemen's food supply, and honestly, God knows what else, right? But he sees them in the same company as Anne Frank. Like, Hassan is such a piece of garbage, man, and I pray on his downfall daily. Like, seriously, it's just so insane, man. You know, Hassan defending these people for their atrocities because they're some sort of victims is like saying, you know, a certain Austrian painter was justified because he was wounded in the First World War, right? He's just part of a resistance movement, guys. He was blinded by false propaganda. Yeah, well, why don't you take a ganda at this schmeat, buddy? Sit on it and spin, Hassan. How about that? Like, how insanely dishonest do you have to be to try and humanize perpetrators of, honestly, such unimaginable evil, and then try and justify it in the guise of resistance, man? These people are not victims. They're just simply pissed off that they're not having their sick, twisted purposes achieved, and so they take it out on the innocent people living in Yemen. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less.
He knew exactly who the fuck I was, but he was basically like, he always made it seem as though he was asking certain things that after discovering in the process of that conversation, he would ask additional questions. So he kept saying, "What do you do as a job? Do you talk about the news?" And I was like, "Yeah, I talk about the news." And he kept saying, "Okay, so when you talk about the news, do you talk about the war?" And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" He's like, "Do you talk about Trump?" And that was the first time where I was like, "What the fuck is this question?" Like, I literally straight up told him, I was like, "Why are you asking me this?" Like, I was like, what does this have to do with anything? Yeah, they asked me about my fucking Twitch bans, chat. It's not even a joke. They asked me about fucking Twitch chat, like Twitch bans. The reason for why they're doing that is, I think, to try to create an environment of fear, to try to get people like myself, or at least like others that would be in my shoes that don't have that same level of security, to shut the fuck up. And for me, I'm going to use the privilege that I have in that moment to try and see what the fuck they're doing.
This pussy has massive ovaries, I'll give him that. Like, I don't know how to put it into words exactly, but his arrogant tone throughout this, and the way he's just so sing-songy about it, you know, treating something so serious like it's a little game. Like, oh, oopsies, tee-hee, guys, you know, I'm advocating for terrorist groups again. I almost got arrested. Like, it pisses me off, man. I don't know. But equally as frustrating is how once he becomes immersed in his role of professional victim, he starts acting like he too is some kind of victim, and that this whole getting pulled aside for questioning thing is just so unwarranted. There's no logical reason, that could be traced back to all of this. Like, maybe if you stopped advocating for terrorist organizations, Hassan, and calling for the death of people you don't like, or overall just making it abundantly clear that you're okay with such evil actions being perpetrated, maybe you wouldn't have to be inconvenienced coming back into a country you've openly shit on. Which leads me to my next point. At the end he goes off on some, they're trying to silence me, guys, and he basically implies that his constitutional rights, again, constitutional rights that are granted to him by the very country he openly despises, time and time again, are just in jeopardy, right? And that this is bullshit, as if he isn't speaking dangerous things that have to be taken seriously. Like, if things went the way Hassan wanted them to go in this instance, I genuinely fear there would be way more tragedies taking place, that happen because of a lack of intervention. When you start talking crazy on the internet and you've got this big audience that's super impressionable, you have to take this shit seriously. But you already know the Hassan cocksuckers are coming out of the woodwork to defend this shit. Like this tweet, for example, from Defending Rights and Dissent. Our policy director at Chip Gibbons 89 on the detention of streamer Hassan the Hun. We are deeply disturbed that CBP is stopping political commentators at the border to interrogate them about First Amendment protected activities. Such an abuse of power is an affront to press freedom. Like, dog, I think it's so funny that these people that are just like so anti-American and they advocate for these people, they don't even understand, the people that be talking about, his First Amendment rights, the first people to throw that shit out, they suddenly pass the bar and become lawyers, right? When in reality, everybody with a functioning brain knows that the First Amendment does not protect you from consequences, when you say some ludicrous shit. Like, if I'm talking about I want to go perpetrate 9/11 too, there's going to be consequences. I'm not safe from that. Like, what the fuck is this dude on? Like, what are all these people on, man? It's fucking crazy to me. But this is the real icing on the cake. I think I'll go ahead and conclude the video with this.
Look, I'm gonna keep it $150, okay? This has 1,800 views. Okay. I'm serious. If you watch something like this, I can't tell you what to do with your life, because like my suggestion to you, if you unironically consume content like this, would be I can't tell you the mechanisms in which, like, what kind of medieval techniques you should be using to do the deed, right? But like, just, the sky's the limit, okay? Like, that's it. It's just like you have already volunteered your life. You're like, I am nothing. I am not a human. I am something different.
So yes, in true poetic fashion, once again, Hassan tells us that if any of us watch content that he doesn't agree with, we should just straight up kill ourselves. Like, dude seriously has zero self-awareness. He literally views himself as some sort of hero in his own right. He's just simply on a higher plane of existence, guys, than us stupid, worthless, disgusting peasants, right? When in reality, he simply just spews ignorance on the internet. He'll occasionally debate people that are much weaker than him, and then he sits on his ass reaping the benefits and reaping the rewards of an economic practice he is apparently so much against. I don't know, the whole thing is so stupid. Dude again tried to compare these Houthi heroes to Luffy, King of the Pirates, and Anne Frank, and honestly, dude, it's just... You're disgusting. I hate you. And just know, Hassan, that we are all preying on your downfall. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more commentaries just like this, and leave a comment down below. Not only does it help push this video into the algorithm, but I just genuinely want to hear what y'all have to say about all this. And yeah, help me get out the mud, man. Like I said in the intro, I need a multi-million-dollar mansion, a Porsche to drive like my idol, my Pookie Bear Hassan. Yeah, with that being said, I'm out. Later.